As temperatures soar in Bangladesh's monsoon season, Dhaka's citizens face crippling power cuts for hours at a time, caused by shortages of fuel in an overstretched electricity network. It's been like this for years, and it's not getting any better. The irony is, Bangladesh sits above huge reserves of natural gas, and efforts to exploit them are now being stepped up. I'm standing on the drill floor of the Energy Explorer, Shell's offshore exploration rig, which is just beginning a new phase of test drilling 30 kilometers off the coast of Chittagong. In the distance, I can just see the Sanggu platform a couple of kilometers away. Following the first discoveries here in the Bay of Bengal, the Sanggu production platform now extracts around 150 million cubic feet of gas a day. That gas goes by underwater pipeline 50 kilometers back to the coast of Chittagong, and after processing is injected into the national grid. Shell's Sanggu field supplies some 16% of the country's current consumption, but with limited prospects for growth in the domestic market, foreign investors are keen for Bangladesh to export. Andrew Vaughan is managing director of Shell Bangladesh.
If you look around the region, countries like Malaysia really only took off in terms of their own growth when they started to make use of the oil and the gas that they had in the ground themselves and started to sell that overseas. But it's a choice for the government to make. They need to look at the facts, they need to look at the economics, they need to look at the political realities.
The obvious market for export is India, and Shell estimates that the Delhi region alone has a shortfall of around 500 million cubic feet of gas per day. Last year, however, the government declared that exports would only be considered after a 50-year reserve had been guaranteed for domestic use, almost certainly a calculation that rules out the export option. Professor Nurul Islam helped formulate the government's energy policy.
For any country, the natural resources like natural gas should be used primarily for meeting the energy need of its own people. We should look for sustainable development. The definition of sustainable development is that do it for yourself as well as leave something for your future generation. Energy policy of Bangladesh will be written for the interest of the people of Bangladesh, not for the oil companies. That I can say only very briefly.
The pro-export lobby argues that exporting gas will earn vital foreign currency, which can then be reinvested in the country's own energy infrastructure. However, in Bangladesh's highly volatile political environment, politicians are reluctant to support export at the risk of being accused of selling off the nation's birthright to its dominant neighbour. Dr. Kamal Hossain was foreign minister in the country's first government after independence.
Because of the kind of politics that has got generated, which is confrontational, which tries not to see our external relations in terms of national interest, issues which should be discussed rationally, dispassionately, in terms of costs and benefits, tend to get caught up in these kinds of mutual allegations of sacrificing the national interest in order to benefit someone.
The responsible development of gas holds out a unique prospect of hope for a country where half its 130 million citizens live in poverty. By the year 2020, Bangladesh's population will rise to 170 million. Used effectively, gas will play a vital role in meeting some of the many difficult challenges ahead. How Bangladesh decides to use its resources now will determine the future for generations to come.
And that was Mike Sweet reporting from Dhaka.